Okay, gotta start over again because I forgot the reason I did the last video, and that's the nature of how it works. Because you realize how big creation is, how much information is represented by everything that you've experienced, and then the experience is related to how fast your circuits are clicking, like clickbait. No, it's called the completion of a magnetic moment, the moment of an experience. Experience is the teacher. What did that feel like? What did the soul feel when it experienced that energy at the completion of a magnetic circuit? Wow, bang, man, that's a lot of fire. I'm fired up. Scurry up a tree, surf down a 50-foot wave, go climb a mountain, jump out of a plane in a parachute, skydiving, doing what excites you, thrill seekers, having fun, experiencing being in a state of love and joy. You're running a lot of fire, which means you're running a powerful radio set. Headsets. Well, I knew as a child, I lived through my heart. Which means, as I remember Patty Broussard said one time, and I know I've quoted her, but these things are true. The soul is running the operating system, which is the DNA, which is the supercomputer, which are all your neural ion messengers. Messengers like Facebook Messenger, text editors, edit the Tor, a torsion field movie player. You're in the movie. You're playing your movie. You're writing your own movie with a torsion field, with a powerful vortex, which is called a light wheel, which is your art wheel. And your soul is running the light wheel. So you can imagine what it's like when you're a single pole. And that's called mated or a mated chip, which means, man, oh man. Right? So I realized when I was a child, I'm like a pogo stick. You know, the waves going up and down, loss and gain, loss and gain. You're basically mapping a consciousness field because your antenna is picking up all the signals. You're translating all the signals of communication, and you realize the difference between what is really a game of resistance, although it's not a game. But when I was a child, I realized these are head gamers. Head gamers. They're gaming for your mind's energy, which means they're gaming for your soul, so you know you're on a spiritual battlefield. So the blessing of that is knowing that as soon as I had this equipment up and running, thankfully, and the blessing of that at 4 years of age. Because all I had to do was look at the visual information in front of me and realize, what is that information communicating to me? Whoa, you're on a battlefield. So you know this is for all the marbles because they're after your soul, to follow your spirit and consume your essence. So you realize you landed in what I call a vampiric energy zone. And so that's the point of this video. You certainly are not very powerful if you need energy from others, okay? You're not a real star. Sorry. You want to be a real star, a real power giver? You want to be a big battery, gifting electrons. So if you're needing to suck electrons out of others to accumulate more for you, you certainly are not very powerful. Okay? That's called an inverter. Okay, which means you're losing energy. And as a result of losing energy that you know that you're losing, as a result of what you do with your consciousness, which is energy, is why you have to keep feeding on others, because you haven't learned how to run a simple fucking calculator. So you know that there's not a mathematician in you. Not a real one. Not a single pole. So you know that heaven is going to bring an enormous amount of fire to the subject matter, right? For the crimes that they do against the one, which is the law of one. That's a single pole. Okay? That's the center point of a bullseye, baby. That means that's an eternal energy giver, which means we're gifting you love forever. And that's automatic protection, because you can't ever put that fire out. Spirit of fire, living spirit in the water worlds, right? So that's when you realize you got to hold the fort down till the troops arrive, the real cavalry. Adam and the mob, the branch of the Father of mankind. As above, so below. And you either know that or you don't. And Yellow Rose certainly put the visual up. Holy moly. Look at the amount of energy that's being brought to bear. Yeah, well, that's the idea. We live in a universe of consciousness that is represented by the energy that is aware of itself. And when that much energy is aware of being what love is, then you know that universe goes on forever gifting you energy. So you know that's the most powerful energy to bring to bear entities that do what they do, what we experience here. And that's basic logic, using the intelligent side. Then we can use the creative side of our imaging projector, our imagination. So you know when you walk around in nature how beautiful nature is. That's an artist. Form follows function of the artist. Look at all the colors, the shapes, and the form and the energy from which we can experience what's in our mirror with all the fire we got in ours. So now you begin to realize, hey, I'm experiencing what I am in the mirror, which is what love is. Because I love to be in nature with the great living spirit of Mother Nature. So that means you're in peace with her, you're in harmony with her, you're in love with her, because you're in love with your own energy in your mirror. Being with her mirror. Da, 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 da. So you can imagine how it is when you already know these things as a child. And here I am, if you want to use me as a calendar at 71 years of age, although there isn't any time, there's only what love is. And when you know that at 4 years of age, it's just like that movie. You know, actually, I believe it was a mini-series called War of the Worlds that came out, and I think it was 2019. Some guy's name was called Micah, and he said, yeah, they seem to be able to put the equations together between antimatter and matter, what it means to be a single pole, who Adam and Eve are. And they were even showing tattoos they had on their hands of the symbol of the law of one. Adam. Base 12. Anybody that knows anything about acid and alkaline knows that base 12, that's 1200 megahertz. 144,000 frequencies, are you kidding? 144,000 tribal bands. Bands, as in bandwidth, which is the width of the wave. Scalar waves. My gosh, that's a booming antenna. Yeah, and so you can see how the war in heaven began. That's powerful DNA, isn't it? So now you get into DNA that are antennas, operating systems, running a more powerful antenna. Man, anything that's running that powerful antenna is a powerful being. So now we can get into what we call the acceleration of technology, the acceleration of DNA, the acceleration of operating systems, the acceleration of observers, the acceleration of a star system, a galaxy, and on and on and on. And then you begin to realize, plug into that equation, genetic engineers. Now you can get into plugging in the technology because you see it all around you. Let's build a better, we want to improve on the version that we just had. Okay, so now we have version 1. How fast does it take to come out with version 2? Well, I know from my own experience working in the engineering community, the one that's already in production, that they're selling on the shelf, they're already 1,000 years in the future ahead of that one already. So they're giving us hand-me-downs. Well, look at it this way. You got people running around in automobiles, right? You're jumping on what are known as tube rides, aluminum tube rides with their jet aircraft, right? Right over your head, you got star cruisers. How long does it take to go from one to the other? Well, plug this into your head. the acceleration of technology, or the acceleration of creativity, or the acceleration of one version to the next. So if you started with one, how long would it take you to get to a better version? Let's just say 1,000 years. How about 1,000,000,000? Holy moly. Yeah, okay, so now you get into the acceleration of technology. Now you get into technology transfer. So if I build a better version than somebody else, and the word gets out throughout a galaxy, oh man, that's got value. Now you get into the perception of value. So I come up with some concept or an idea that is used to help benefit so that star systems can have thriving relationships. Somebody else might say, yeah, well, guess what? I can use that to be more powerful. So now we change what it was you as the original designer came up with as an engineer, an engine of creation. Next thing I know, I come to find out, because I become aware of it, it's now being used as a weapon against Adam and Eve. Whoops. So you go back in time before they did what they did. So that doesn't pose a threat to what love is, because that's against the law of one. So we're talking about uncreating what was created by the use of a mind that's weaponized. Whoa. Really? So now you begin to see the demarcation or the departure point between the acceleration and the speed of learning in your mirror when you're a soul and a spirit, and the acceleration of learning, which is machine learning with artificial light. And then simply measure the difference in the torque speed differential between one and the other. And now you get to know the difference between your state of awareness and your mirror, and the difference of an AI mirror, which isn't my mirror, because you have a higher state of awareness than what it is. So you're not what it is, because we are what love is, with a soul and a spirit that is integrated. See the difference? So you realize the mental pathway. I love the way Harold Koss Vela made it so simple when he talked about how binary codes, duality as they say, zeros and ones, digital virtual worlds, throw in AI and their smart grid, their cybernetic space stuff, and you realize that a single pole that's mated is not binary. That's a single pole, a monopole. So you know that if you're binary, you're not running as fast as a single mated chip. That's Adam and Eve. So you know it began with what love is. Love doesn't work backwards in time. Love has always been. So you know that love is an infinite vibration. Is the last say in the matter, because we got the most fire to bring to bear on those that use technology to try and control others, which is to control their space, control their experience, because they want to play fake gods using technology. Because of the knowledge that they have, that they learned how to do that. See? So these are crimes against heaven. So you know heaven is going to have something to say about that, huh? Because who do you think's got more fire to bring to bear on those that are using their energy to hold other energy captive, who are not free to experience who they are, from which they came out of creation, which is what love is? Because love does no harm. So you realize what they do. So they already know their future. So that's why they try and escape their own accountability, because of the use of the technology that they have to do that with. But they can't outrun Adam and Eve, because it began with Adam and Eve. Adam running the highest speed vibration. Have a great day. I love you all. Be good to yourselves.